Mercy TV.
Sorry. Are you filming now?
Yep.
Yeah, I turned it on while you walked across and
Oh, sorry.
Ken, because
No, it's okay.
I was just gonna close the door.
he's that kind of
Hide my face.
thinking for
Hide my
the
face.
person. Ready? Are you gonna back it up, or are you gonna leave it to Arlen to edit this shit
Hell, letter.
out?
Sorry, folks.
That's what those techies are for. Are we rolling?
Yes.
Hello, welcome to Mercy TV, your source for news and information on medical cannabis as the issue unfolds here in Oregon, across America, and around the world. Greetings. My name is Perry, and I'll be your host for this segment of Mercy TV. This here is the Wednesday night weekly meeting that Mercy organizes. It happens every Wednesday at 7 p.m. at 1745 Capitol Street Northeast in Salem, Oregon. Stop by mercycenters.org for more information on the weekly meetings by Mercy and other weekly other meetings and meetups that we either find out about and organize or let people know about. Excuse me. At these meetings, we outreach, inform, educate, and hopefully activate people on the issues surrounding medical cannabis, again, here in Oregon and all around the world. Excuse me. Those issues are helping to get your card, finding medicine now, in the short term, and in the long term, either finding a grower or getting to grow yourself. Also, best methods on medicating, as well as changes, whether you need to change your grower or there's changes to the program. There, of course, we step into the area of activism and talk about how to add conditions to the program, how to make changes. Oh, thank you. And other things that folks need to do. You can look at the issues involved as administrative, and those are the things like the rules and regulations, getting your card, other things. There's also patient resourcing, and that's where you're talking about the aspects involving the cannabis medicine itself. Then there's legislative, and that's involving getting changes to the program and other aspects, or defending changes from people who are negative to the program. So our purpose here is to disseminate. Oh, yeah, we have a question there.
Okay, we have a couple of guests here. How
Yeah.
far away did you come?
Portland,
Portland. And what do you need?
I need a grower.
Okay. And there's nobody up in Portland that can help you out.
I just started looking. I don't know where I found out about Mercy Center, but after talking to Sonny on the phone, I thought it was worth looking into coming all the way down here.
Well, we can certainly help out, and in addition to the resources we can network with here, we can also give her a copy of the Oregon Cannabis Connection, which has a good starting point, at least, for what's available up there in Portland. We can also try to communicate with folks up there that we have lines of communication with. At the very least, though, we can talk about all the aspects of looking for a grower. And you do need to look for a grower. You're not able to grow at your
Right.
place.
I live in an apartment.
Ah, okay, so that's a big killer right there.
Right.
You usually need at least a room or two to dedicate to it. It's not advisable to put it out on your patio, things like that. Generally, that abrogates the primary rule of your garden, which is out of public view.
Right. I have some thoughts kind of swimming around in my brain right now is, one, I live in a federally subsidized, is that the word?
Right.
Building, and my apartment manager, although he's certainly open for people using marijuana, he said because they're federally subsidized, and it's against federal law that
Sure.
they cannot allow the use of smoking.
Right. On the premises there.
On the premises.
Right.
I think that actually some people might be doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think there may be sort of the sort of like don't ask, don't tell.
Uh-huh.
But I'm also interested in, Sonny talked to me about possibly using, I don't really want to smoke because I'm afraid of starting a fire in my apartment. But he said that there's different ways that you can use it, like a topical.
Sure.
Is it the word tincture?
Tinctures also,
Tincture
yes.
is the word?
Well,
So,
topicals and tinctures.
Tinctures. Oh, so there's more than one
Right.
topical.
Mhm.
Okay.
And oils.
And oils.
Right, yeah.
and
Yeah, the
butter.
reason I want to try it is because I have neuropathy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I haven't had any relief from using what the doctor prescribed, the topicals she just prescribed.
Okay, sure. So, first off, in the housing situation, yeah, federal housing is very tough, restrictive. In some cases, folks, for even having their card, have been forced to choose between having their card, period. Much less even possessing, medicating, or anything growing on the premises. So, I think we've come some distance from that, and folks don't have to worry about there being a card holder with interfering with their housing, at the least. Still, though, those folks have, similar to folks in any apartment complex, the same issues of medicating, growing, other aspects that's involved with their being a patient in the program. So we've dealt with these issues before. Is the good news, I suppose. The first thing would be to look at those methods of medicating involving something non-intrusive like smoking, which emits that, the whole
I don't want my apartment smelling
odor
like
and
that.
aroma. Folks generally want to shy away from that because of other aspects of it. It can make you cough, and it's not always pleasant for folks, as well as not the most healthiest thing, and as well as the other aspects of it. So yeah, let's look to some alternative methods for medicating. Now, if you're going to be though the thing about smoking is it's an immediate application. Folks experience these sharp onsets of condition, pains, things like other that, then you have a tendency to have an application like that. Fortunately, an alternative to inhaling is vaporizing.
Oh.
And this...
Is that something where you light something?
No, actually, there's the thing about vaporizing is it's putting hot air over the cannabis, creating a vapor of the cannabis
Do you
medicine.
still have to use a lighter though?
No.
To create it?
There's no combustion. And because of that, vaporizing is a hospital facility approved method for folks to medicate for patients.
Oh.
There's no combustion again. So even if there's oxygen,
Yeah.
boom,
Oh,
no boom,
that
or
sounds
as the case may
great.
be. So
it gets into your system
just like you were smoking it,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And it's a concentrated method, so you use less than, less application, dosage, titration, if you will,
Right, yeah.
than you would
Does
with
this
smoking.
Does this tell you where you can buy the vaporizer?
There's a lot of information about vaporizing.
Okay.
We're the best source.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Oh, for me to buy one.
Well, we can network to that. We don't generally stock them, but we can
Find
direct you to a place to get the best deal, I suppose.
Okay.
If we get enough patients who would like to get one, we'll go get a group order and
Oh, okay.
help with folks like that. We have one here, so we can help show you how it works and other
Oh,
things.
okay.
So you're a card holder at this time?
I am applying for my card, but I have to get a grower to fill out the application.
No, yeah. So you can put yourself in at the time being and change when you find a
I
grower.
can put myself down as a grower.
Yes.
So I.
Or another
Well,
individual.
I can't grow it in my apartment.
Why?
so-
Right. A lot of folks currently aren't able to do the same thing. Since they require that, though, they fill themselves in even though they don't technically have a grow.
So I just put my information and the physical address would be my apartment.
Right.
And I could do that even though it's federally subsidized?
Yes.
And then when you find a grower, you would
make the change
You would make the change of the
of that. Alternatively, you can put down the address of your caregiver, for example, even though there's not a grow site there. But you need to put something in. There's a bill currently in play to eliminate that need to put a grow site down when they obviously don't have a grow site.
Let me ask Sarah a question.
Mhm.
I'm not following them. I have some.
Sure, that's fine. It's not, unfortunately, due to the war and shit, they made it complicated, so I understand.
Can you tell me that you understand what they're saying about me being a grower or putting
Yeah.
out that application?
You can make yourself your own caregiver, basically grower, okay? Doesn't mean that you have to grow anything in your apartment. You will not be growing anything in your apartment. And when you do find somebody to grow it for you, you would just transfer it.
Okay, so I would just contact the state once I find a grower.
Yes.
Correct, make a change. This is a
And
change
we
form.
can get
I just
you-
knew something good was going to happen today. I didn't know that this would be so easy. Did you know?
No, I don't
Mm.
know.
Well, just to explain to folks out there in TV land, the application form for the authorization or card in Oregon, the medical cannabis card, has 3 places. There's a grower, a caregiver, and the patient. All 3 places must be filled out, or they reject the form. So in cases where the patient doesn't have a grow site, no one's growing for them, an address is put in, often just the patient's, even though they're not growing. That's screwing up the trying to track the number of grow sites, actual grow sites, and things like that. So there's a bill in play currently, Oregon legislature, to eliminate the need to put down a grow site when you don't have it. There's a little box, check, I don't have a grow site, and not do that. For patients that don't have a caregiver, someone else to help them with the medicating process, again, put yourself down as your own caregiver at this time until common sense prevails and people don't have to register with the state for use common sense medicine.
What
Hey.
is the caregiver for?
The caregiver is generally someone who's helping the patient with medicating, who even so simply as picks up the medicine from one side of the room and takes it across to the patient, helps them prepare it, often in the processes where you're baking it or you're making butter, you're helping to vaporize because you need to grind it up, you want to remove all the stems and seeds and stuff, put it in the thing, vaporize. Some vaporized systems have a bag that contains the vapor, help the patient there with their medicating process.
So my
Refill
question
the
is,
bag and
let's say
stuff.
she finds a grower
Mhm.
and I need to transport something for her.
Again,
Is that
now,
where
Mhm.
that comes into play so
Mhm.
that I can do that legally? Because I told her I
Right.
would pick it up, but only if I could do that legally.
any place that has excess, any person you meet online, the forums that say, hey, we're a group, and we meet here at time and place. As a caregiver, a card holder, also the grower is a card holder and can receive excess medicine to help give to the patient.
Is there a limit on how much you can get from your grower, like a pound, or, I mean, that's a lot
Mhm.
of marijuana. a pound.
Yeah.
Is there a limit?
Yes, the amount of medicine that you're allowed to possess that is yours is 24 ounces.
24 ounces.
Mhm, a
Well,
pound and a half.
A pound and a half.
Yes.
Well, that's a lot.
Yes.
Um,
And we had to fight for it too. So
that's quite a lot.
it's
Well, that'll last you
it seems
a
like a
whole
lot,
year.
but you'd be surprised.
What?
It seems like a lot, but you'd be surprised.
Right. Oh, how much you would
Well, it
actually
depends on the
use.
quality. I mean,
Right, yeah.
a pound and a half of bunk is still bunk. I mean,
Yeah.
make butter out of the whole thing, and okay, you know, but
Yeah, well, I'm concerned about making a dessert out of it because, you know, I've had the munchies before and it's like all of a sudden you eat the whole batch of brownies.
right.
And, you know, that's not my, you know, my goal is not to get a high, but to get, you know, I'm hoping that the marijuana will make me not focus on the feeling that I have.
Right.
Because I feel, and I have tried to find these symptoms online and I cannot find them when I Google neuropathy, but my feet feel like they're being mummified.
Mhm.
Like they're really dry of shriveling up, but it doesn't matter how much lotion I put on. So I'm hoping the marijuana will help me just not think of it,
Mhm.
I don't expect the feeling to go away, but maybe it's just that it refocus me in a different direction. So because when I go to bed at night is when it really starts bothering me. 'Cause,
Mhm.
you know, I don't have other things to focus on. And so if I was able to get relief when I'm laying down to go to sleep, does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I'm not doing it because I want to get.
Yeah, and so do 90%, 99% of the people that come here. You know, we get a lot of folks that haven't had a lot of experience with it. They're not coming from this cannabis culture.
Right.
For one reason or another, they actually prefer to avoid the THC highness or buzz, if you will.
Well,
So,
that can really affect your mood, and I already have
Mhm.
bipolar disorder, so
Mhm.
I don't, you know.
well,
that's
for
what
whatever reason, folks
Yeah.
want to avoid those aspects of it.
Right,
So
yeah.
we're frequently dealing with it, and yet we're dealing with neuropathy, which is a whole body pain experience. So getting the cannabis applied to folks in that same manner is very efficacious.
What's that word mean?
Efficacious, effective.
Effective.
And when you're talking about sleep deprivation or apnea, even you're not sleeping well.
Right.
We're in cannabis and the applications to it. Now, we're going to look at applying some oil to the feet directly in a topical manner and see
you're
if
gonna do that now?
that's what we're thinking about doing in
You
this
all
case
bring
here.
that to me?
Yeah,
Do you have something to put, can I use my hands to put it on?
Sure.
yeah. I use my hands and then rub my hands in
Mhm.
the air. But you can do it, we can get you
Mhm.
a towel.
I don't think I'd want to rub it in my hair.
Yeah, it's just a suggestion. We're looking more at the situation condition we're talking about, which is your feet of pain or desensitization. It sounds like
Yeah.
here. So again, we're talking about your being in your housing situation. So smoking is, you know, or some other, even vaporizing. You know, has some, you know, again, folks may have a concern about some you know, effect getting out. So, oh, I'm still vaporizing and whatever. So when we talk about making medibles, making a cookies or making a tea out of it or something for nighttime, so you can get a dosage then. Particularly concentrated and internal, that's going to help you with your sleep,
Thank you. Vicky.
You're welcome.
which could also be delivered in terms of a tincture.
Would a tincture help with sleeping?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
You would take it
This is a
internally,
tincture?
it would go to your whole body thing, it would go out to the,
Is this a tincture?
No, this is an oil.
This is an oil.
Right. So, in the oils, again, we're talking something that you can use in your federal housing and not
Yeah, it smells good.
not to be concerned about running up against any issues with your housing. So this topical application is definitely not going to emit any odors,
Right.
non-obtrusive in any sense of the word.
Well, like I said, I think my apartment manager sort of indicated it was sort of a don't ask.
Good,
don't tell.
which is good because I don't know how, but sometimes they can find out if people are with the program.
Right.
And again, we've had reports of folks just for being with it,
If
losing their
you,
car to their housing.
If you buy a pound, 24 ounces, and take it home and make a product with it, does that still count as part of your 24 ounces? Like if I made some cookies.
You can't buy it.
I mean, I know you'll buy
Mhm.
good donation. So if I had 24 ounces and I made cookies out of it, and now it's in cookie form,
Mhm.
then can I go? I mean, does it have to be non-processed, or do you have a certain amount that can be processed?
It's kind of a gray area. Depends on the jurisdiction. Here in Salem, they would probably weigh the amount of the cookies and look at that as your possession
Right.
amount.
Okay. Yeah, it just popped in my head, you know, that
Sure.
If it's really taking me a lot to make the, over a pound to make
And that's something that folks want to watch the legislature about, because they're looking at that and trying to classify it as different.
Right.
But that's the whole marijuana is evil and dangerous, and so concentrated dosage is even more.
Hit the other foot.
I'm gonna see if there's a difference. If I feel a
Okay.
Yeah,
difference.
interesting.
Does that
So,
make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, you get with the program, you get a grower, grow yourself. We help to match up the grower, and so when you're talking with your grower and lining them up, there's two critical parameters that you want to be thinking of and discuss with them with integrity. That means openly and honestly, and that's the amount and monies. So the amount of medicine you're going to need and any other issues related to that, quantities, amount and quality and methodology. If you need it in oil form or something like that, I don't have the means to turn it into oil, then you want to talk about that with the grower, something.
Can the grower provide it as a oil?
Maybe. That's where you involve the caregiver.
Oh.
And we talk about the process for doing it, and if you were able to do it yourself, get your caregiver, or the grower has to, and so part of lining up the grower is part of that.
So the grower can be my caregiver.
They can do things related to your medicine just as the caregiver can,
Oh, okay.
just as you can.
Oh, okay.
So,
Thanks.
yeah, we try to, let it out there. So, if that's necessary, if that's needed though, you want to make sure that you talk about the grower with it, just as the grower wants to make sure also if they're quality. The extreme cases, we've had a grower who just cut the plant off and handed it to the patient. And it was up to the patient to make sure the plant was properly dried, cured, etc.
I don't like that idea.
In that case, that didn't suit, because the same reason you can't grow there, you couldn't have a hanging plant.
Right.
See? Now that's only one time I've heard of that. So again, I say that's an extreme case, but that's an
Sounds
example of
pretty
something
okay.
that you want to, okay, don't take things for
I'm
granted.
not saluting you, the sun's coming right
No,
now.
sure, yeah. If we want to close the door there for them or
Maybe
something.
close it up.
There's, you guys,
Could you
wait,
close it
wait,
halfway?
wait here.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
I couldn't concentrate on what you were saying because the sun was right in my eye.
I was curious how long our producer is going to let the audience suffer, but
Hey, the landlord did that.
yeah.
The
Pass the buck.
landlord did that.
So, all those things with the folks can help you with the different aspects and things, and anything that may happen in the future, feel free to talk about it. The important thing of when a prospective patient is talking with a prospective grower is, you can talk weights and amounts. How much medicine can I expect? What kind of quality? What happens if I run out? How much money do you need? How often and stuff? This is different than if a patient is going to another cardholder, be they grower, caregiver, or patient, and you want to network for some excess medicine. You need medicine now. We don't have dispensaries in Oregon, so that system, that process is the only legal means. Now there's groups, nonprofits, cooperatives, clubs, cafes, different processes where folks go, they pay a membership, they pay a day use fee. Once inside, there's medicine on the table there and you're free to participate. Some of them have processes where you can go get some medicine. They have selection out there and you make a donation and you get some medicine. All these systems are kind of fraught with risk because it's pretty much specified from the U.S. Attorney's Office that even making a donation for medicine is not covered under the OMA. So it's freely given medicine, and if you're going to donate, you donate just because you like the person. And should law enforcement come and grab folks and they try to state that you were buying your medicine, you insist, no, I was making a donation to that person. I wasn't buying that. I would have given that money and walked away if you hadn't given me medicine. I did.
Right.
Medicine had nothing to do with it. Same from the other side. We're just giving each other a mutually beneficial gift. But that's up to you guys. That's your belief, your statements. Should law enforcement try to grab you and force you to say, "Oh, it's a sale." So that's what we have to deal with here in Oregon currently. For
But
what
not
it's
in Colorado and Washington, right?
correct now. Colorado,
But you
Washington.
have to have a medical marijuana card to use cannabis.
Yes, they have both a medical cannabis system and legalization. Legalization is not yet in force in that there's no stores and you're not enabled to grow personal grows yet. In Washington State, they don't have a personal grow written into their legalization law, so those folks are going to need to go to the stores. Colorado does have a personal grow, though. So those folks will be an individual will be able to grow for themselves and not have a qualifying condition and all that stuff. So those folks are fortunate. We have a couple of bills in play here in Oregon to set up dispensaries. We also have a bill to allow legalization. So folks, please contact your Oregon State legislatures and tell them yes on cannabis law reform, medical and otherwise, here in Oregon. PK, you had a comment, question?
You answered it.
Okay, thank you. Now,
Sorry.
in talking about the different modalities of application here, which is an integral part of folks getting their card, because we have a lot of people who come to us and say they talk to their doctor about using cannabis as medicine, but their doctor's afraid, hey, I don't want to prescribe you smoked medication. I'm uncomfortable with that. I don't think that works and all. And here in Oregon, you're not prescribing. The doctor's just saying that you have one of these qualifying conditions. And B, you don't have to smoke it. You know, once we educate doctors on just that one thing, that's tremendous. Now, in addition to the vaporizing, there's the medibles, or eating it, and we recommend making a butter out of it, which is a good way to apply it. Of course, just grinding it all up and putting it into your foods, another thing. There's teas, tinctures, oils, other balms, making a cream out of it so you can rub it in topically. Let's talk a little bit about those different modalities and pros and cons, how they work, but most especially how to make them, how to do these things. Let's start with the simplest and most basic one. This is the one that we recommend for folks, first timers. You have somebody that is in immediate need of cannabis. We're talking about teas, and that's where you simply take some hot water, you put your cannabis in your tea cozy, I guess you call them, your little tea container, and just soak it like you would tea normally. And then drink it down. You can mix in your flavored teas with it to get a particular preferred flavor, half and half, as it were. And as far as the dosage and titration, wow, it really depends on the particular strain that you have. So experimentation is the best methods. Give yourself some time. Don't put yourself in a situation where you need to, take some tea and then drive right afterwards. So allow yourself to be able to sit, experience it, and over time, the right amount to utilize. Of course, when doing that method, you take a sip, wait, a couple more sips, wait. Same if you made cookies with butter or other medibles, brownies, things of that nature. Now with tinctures, you have a similar mode to making butter. You take your cannabis, immerse it in some extract like alcohol based or glycerin based, and then drain off that liquid, and that's your tincture. Some folks, as we said, you can use alcohol or glycerin, which is sugar-based, depending on your conditions. Some folks prefer the alcohol or can't do the alcohol and even can't do the glycerin.
What kind of alcohol are you talking?
PK.
Are you talking about vodka or gin or?
Some people use those type of alcohols. You don't want to use your rubbing alcohol or anything.
Everclear.
Everclear would be your better.
And you can get that at the state liquor store.
Yeah. So your liquors, I guess, Everclear, bourbon, Scotch.
But you don't
Well,
have to use
your
very much.
Everclear is your anything that's over 150 proof, and that's like your Everclear is 190.
Okay.
Some of your rums are 150.
Okay.
But you don't have to use a lot of alcohol for one dose, right?
Well,
I mean, I
no.
wouldn't want to get.
Well, or when you've achieved your extract, your tincture, because what you do, you take your cannabis, you in the container like this, put some cannabis in there, fill it with the alcohol. Again, it's probably the 30-day period.
No, the alcohol is a little bit quicker.
Faster than, but you still need the agitation.
Yes.
In the container, agitate, wait for the time, agitating on a regular basis. When it's ready, 2 weeks-ish, pour some out, straining it out. Some more medicine, more of the extract, be it the alcohol or the glycerin, what have you. But that stuff you'll use. See, you'll keep reusing this, almost like a mash, if you will.
Oh, okay.
And pouring it out, add some more, pouring it out, add some more.
And so do you end up with a powder or something when you take?
It's all
you
liquefied.
Separate the alcohol from the.
When
No, you'll pour some out, straining it, and then add to it. So you've got this strained pure liquid.
And then you just drink it.
Yeah, you can put it under under your tongue, add it to your foods, tea,
Oh.
your liquid and stuff, see? A drop, again, measure, experiment, you learn your doses and titration. Start at the low level, work your way up to it. Same if you like, when you're making, should you choose to make butter, can of butter, use medibles that way, which is particularly effective for the night sleep, get you that good dose.
Right.
Because with medibles, consuming internally like that, as opposed to smoking or vaporizing, where you get that immediate effect, but then it, ramps down again. With the medibles, it puts up slowly, but then plateaus, and goes for a while, and then goes off. And again, you'll, by experimentation, find you something that gets you through the night, without. In the morning you're waking up and you're, geez, I'm a little groggy here now. I feel like laying down and going back to sleep some more, So with the
I'm
cookies.
really concerned because I have a mood disorder. I don't want to, I don't want to mess with that.
Right.
I mean, sometimes marijuana can put you in a really good mood, but sometimes it can make you feel depressed. At least from my experience of using it in the past.
Well, certainly, overdosing would not be pleasant. Fortunately, it's never been fatal for anybody. I mean, the most that you get is dizzy and nauseous.
Okay.
So, for folks that are worried about
And
some
you
other
wanna
adverse
sleep.
effect.
Huh?
sleep.
I want to sleep.
Right.
I want to
So,
I wanna
properly
go to bed
managed
at
and-
night and not be laying there and feeling like they are. I don't expect it to take the problem away, just where I'm not noticing it so much.
It takes the edge off, right? And especially with neuropathy, pain issues. That's just like so much
I
a.
have the pain with the neuropathy. When I Google neuropathy, nobody has the symptoms that I have. So I think
Kind of like
my
almost
doctor
itchy
says
or dry
they just
feeling.
feel really dry and not itchy. There's no pain. Every once in a while I have tingling, but that's really rare. It's just so it's kind of frustrating to
A sensation,
not have
if you
anybody
will.
else
That's
say that they've
the.
got what I've got, but the doctor says I have neuropathy. And
Well, we had the similar thing with like fibromyalgia, and other things, and skin psoriasis, which leads us to oils and creams and balms and such. And that's the same preparation method. It's just kind of a longer, well, depending on your method. So with oils, you could take and you could boil it. Take your medicine in there and boil it and strain it off, like the same thing you do with butter.
Oh.
Just to give folks a quick rundown, the process for canned butter is to take your pot, put your medicine in, put your butter in, and fill the rest with cold water. Bring to a simmer, not boil, stirring constantly, and then 4 hours. If you can go 6, even better. Then strain it off. Use cheesecloth on a strainer. That liquid part that comes out of there, though, you want to put it in the refrigerator. What solidifies is your butter there. And the same thing would apply to do it using oil. Okay, and that's the hot fusion method that takes that amount of time, as opposed to a cold fusion, which would be the process of taking your oil, say grapeseed or apple seed oil, I think it is, canola, coconut.
I have a question.
Mhm.
If I'm boiling it, won't the odor of marijuana be in my house and need to go out in the
You're
hallway?
not boiling, you're
Yeah,
simmering.
Will
so
the-
important that
will the
simmer.
smell go- 'cause if I'm simmering it and the smell goes out in the hallway, then I might run into problems. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah.
Well, again, that might be, and so that's where your caregiver, or you want to establish that with your caregiver grower. I need it in that form, but I can't do that. So,
Or I could go to somebody else's house and do it.
right, your caregiver maybe could,
Well,
or
I don't know about that, but I might be able to find some place.
or your grower, or work out.
Thank you so
some
much for
means.
answering your questions. I'm actually getting kind of tired,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna have to leave. But
Okay.
I've got this, and I can call you guys if I come up.
How
with-
does your foot feel?
You know, I
Okay.
think I actually feel a little bit of difference.
Good.
It feels, this one, the reason I just did one foot is to see if I can know the difference.
Exactly,
And
that's good.
I actually think I feel a little different. I still, well, because I've been sitting here talking, I haven't been focusing on them. So it is really hard to tell, but I do think it was a little better. But that,
We're still seeing.
who knows?
Anyway, so good luck to you.
Yeah, thanks, and I can call you. Are you here at regular hours, or are you just here on
Monday, Wednesday, Fridays are my general hours. Send an email. That's a good way if you can have internet access.
Oh,
or-
do you have a business card or something with your email address?
our newsletter has.
Is on this?
Yeah.
It is in there.
We
I would
have a-
grab one of these guys here. Probably.
Yeah, that would be cool.
There you go.
Thanks.
And just inside the.
I'm gonna watch this
On
on
the
so
masthead.
it doesn't make my shoes smell like I'm just gonna wash my foot off because I'm
Sure.
wearing shoes on,
So
and I don't
just to
want
finish up for folks out there in TV land, the oil process.
Well,
Is one of again taking a container, putting your medicine in, filling the rest with oil, agitating on a regular basis. But in this case, it's more like 30 days is the preparation process. Now you want to keep it out of the sunlight, dryish place, coolish, not too warm, not too hot. Right, Pete?
a cool, dark spot.
Right. And so at the end of that 30 days, then again, drain off some of the oil, refill it with some medicine and oil, take that portion you drained off then and apply it in a topical manner. Rub it on to the affected portion where the pain is, where the joint swelling. Folks have arthritis or an injury to this area, psoriasis, burns, nerve
Carpal tunnel.
pain, nerve injuries, particularly neuropathy. Folks with suffering migraines will rub it into these areas here. We've even had folks with congestion, even for their children, having trouble breathing, stuff like that. Rub it into there, positive effect. Also with say cream like Noxzema or something like that. mix in that cannabis, break it up real well, let it sit for a good length of time, and again, you have the same methodology in the applying. So that's the benefit, the beauty, the bounty of cannabis as medicine. And that's why we do this thing, particularly our Wednesday weekly meeting. So I encourage you folks to come on down and experience it, or visit us on the web at www.mercycenters.org, or come on down and see us. We're open Monday through Friday, noon to 6, and of course there's also the Wednesday weekly meeting, 7 to 9. If you just want to catch up on all the news and information, check us out here on Channel 23, Friday, 7 p.m. for Mercy TV Live. Also, we have the Mercy Monthly show going on a regular basis. And don't forget, PK's My Garden. And all these schedules for these shows can be seen at mercycenters.org/TV. That's mercy-TV. Thanks, and how we doing on time there?
We got 40 minutes now.
So, another 20?
Yep.
Alrighty.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What kind of oil do you use to make that?
This was
Regular.
extra virgin olive oil.
Mhm.
The mash is over 10 years old.
So he's been circulating that. So you pour a little bit out, add some more oil. Pour a little bit out, a little bit more oil. So you're keeping that in there and getting as much as you can, keep extracting each time. Canola, coconut, apple seed, grape seed are other ones that have been used. Virgin olive oil,
Okay.
or
Extra
olive oil that fooled around before it's
Okay, please. Thank
You
you.
know.
Are you done with the show?
no, we're still recording.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Good luck to you.
Very, very helpful.
Okay. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you. And thank you for giving me the oil. I think it did make a difference.
Good, good.
Well, next time bring a container back.
Okay.
So another successful success story there, we think. Many thanks to PK for sharing that blessed oil. And if you're interested in checking out medical cannabis oil, come on down to our weekly meeting, or just check us out at the Mercy Center, 1745 Capitol Street, Northeast. Now, we'd like to remind folks that the bill to add PTSD to the OMMP is still in play and still needs your help. At this point, you want to contact your Oregon State House representative and get them to make sure they're going to vote yes on Senate Bill 281 when it comes before them. Right now, it's in the House Health Care Committee, and we want to contact the members of the committee and make sure they give it a due pass, and contact your representative. At the same time, you want to contact your senator, Oregon State Senator, and make sure that they're going to give due passes to anything coming out of the House. The types of bills, the things that are bouncing around there, are House Bill 3460, which would require the estimated 150 dispensaries currently operating in the state to obtain a license from the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program, similar to what is
Liquor stores?
required of liquor stores, I believe. Well, that's funny. Anyway, visit our website. We'll have the details on this thing. Well, we'll catch up on that in a minute, but at the same time I wanted to share with you the study, at-home marijuana gardens are not associated with adverse health effects among children. This out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Children residing in homes where marijuana is cultivated do not suffer from adverse health effects at any greater rate than do comparative children in cannabis-free environments, according to the study in the press in the International Journal of Drug Policy. A pair of investigators with the University of British Columbia School of Social Work compared the household, family, and individual characteristics of 181 children found living in homes with cannabis grow operations in 2 regions in British Columbia, Canada. Data was collected on site regarding the physical characteristics of the homes, the health characteristics of the children residing in the homes, and the adolescents' prescription drug history. Investigators also compared the rates of subjects' prescription drug use with that of a group of children from the same geographic areas. Researchers reported that no significant difference between the health of the children living in cannabis grow operations and the comparison group of children based on their prescription history and their reported health at the time. They concluded the findings of the study challenge the contemporary child welfare approaches and have implications for both child protection social workers and the policymakers who develop frameworks for practice. Although there is little argument that the typical hazards found in cannabis grow operations pose a risk to children and adults living in the homes, the associated health risks are not as clear. Policymakers involved in establishing frameworks and protocols for responding to these unique child welfare cases must consider the absence of clinical evidence to indicate these children are unwell and whether there are grounds for child welfare intervention. For more information, see At-Home Marijuana Gardens Not Associated with Adverse Health Effects Among Children by Alan St. Pierre, Normal Executive Director, at normal.org. Oh, yeah, we cut off some text there, looks like. The bill introduced to Oregon 3460, required dispensaries. Similar was required of liquor stores. Approve a bill that would permit qualifying patients to use medical cannabis when their doctors recommend it. Establish statewide licensed dispensaries and allow qualified patients or their designated caregivers to cultivate up to 3 plants. Right. Anyway. So, Senate Bill 281, contact your Oregon State representative. And also on Senate Bill 40, Senate Bill 82, which has removed the 6-month suspension for minor marijuana possessions. Also Senate Bill 3460 to allow dispensaries. And whatever else may be rattling around. Medical Marijuana, A Perspective by Arthur Livermore, AAMC, Association of Americans for Medical Cannabis. During the 1970s, when I was a medical student, I was told that marijuana, cannabis, was only a drug of abuse. The knowledge of the medical uses of cannabis had been lost. 30 years earlier, doctors were knowledgeable about medical marijuana, but now it was a forbidden plant. It took me years of research to discover the medical uses of marijuana. My search through the medical school library was not helpful. I found some information in a used bookstores. There was a copy of a 1921 therapeutic handbook with medications made with cannabis. When I found Dr. Lester Grinspoon's book, Marijuana Reconsidered, it became clear that marijuana is a medicine. How it works was still unknown. Many young people were using it in the 70s, and some soldiers returning from Vietnam found that it helped them emotionally. My own experience showed that it is effective in treating bipolar mood disorder. When I was learning how to control my emotional body, the psychiatric community didn't think that marijuana is helpful. I was given the most powerful prescription medicines available, but my episodic mania continued. I discovered that marijuana helped me avoid these episodes, and I began using it instead of the standard medications. When I discussed using marijuana with my psychiatrist, she was not able to prescribe cannabis because the law said it wasn't medicine. She saw that it was effective treatment for my symptoms and did not object to my use of marijuana or cannabis. During the 1980s, marijuana was demonized in the Just Say No campaign. At the same time, the United States federal government was running an investigational new drug program that allows patients to use medical marijuana. Robert Randall was the first patient in this program after he sued the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, the Drug Enforcement Administration themselves, the DEA, the National Institute on Drug Abuse, or NIDA, the Department of Justice, the DOJ, and the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, now HHS. He sued all those agencies and departments and won. He won this suit in November 1976 based on the medical necessity of marijuana in the treatment of his glaucoma. The FDA's Compassionate IND program was expanded to include AIDS patients during the 1980s. When George H.W. Bush administration closed the program in 1992, there were 30 patients receiving marijuana or cannabis from the government for medicinal purposes. 20 years later, 4 of these patients are still receiving marijuana from the federal government. After the government stopped adding people to the legal medical marijuana list, patients who responded to cannabis therapy worked with political advocates to pass medical marijuana laws in the states. In 1996, California passed the first medical marijuana law. As of 2012, 17 states and the District of Columbia have made marijuana legal for medical use. In spite of the support for recognizing marijuana as medicine, the DEA has refused to place marijuana in the medical use category. Repeated petitions to remove marijuana from the no medical use category have been denied. For example, in 1988, the court reviewed the science of medical marijuana, and the administrative law judge, Francis Young, found that marijuana in its natural form is one of the safest therapeutically active substances known to man. By any measure of rational analysis, marijuana can be safely used within a supervised routine of medical care. To conclude otherwise on this record would be unreasonable, arbitrary, and capricious. So how and why does the DEA continue to ignore this judgment, this ruling, this evidence, and say that cannabis is not a medicine? Quite simply, they are paid to say that all use of marijuana is abuse of marijuana. The discovery of delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, as the active ingredient of marijuana by Ralph Mechoulam and Yakel Gayoni in 1964 in Israel led to the identification of the endocannabinoid receptor system in 1988. In 1992, this previously unknown transmitter system was found to be activated by the endogenous neurotransmitter anandamide. Exercise stimulates the release of anandamide, so the runner's high associated with jogging is the result of elevated levels of these endocannabinoids. Cannabinoid receptors are found in higher concentrations than any other receptor in the brain. They are in areas associated with pain reduction, coordination of movement, memory, emotions, reward systems, and reproduction. Clinical uses of marijuana are not limited to pain reduction or appetite enhancement and controlling chemotherapy-induced vomiting. Cannabis protects nerve cells from damage and is also effective in reducing tumor growth. Multiple sclerosis patients use cannabis to treat peripheral neuropathy. It's effective in the treatment of movement disorders, glaucoma, asthma, bipolar disorder, depression, epilepsy, post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, arthritis, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis or Lou Gehrig's disease, alcohol abuse, insomnia, digestive diseases, gliomas, skin tumors, sleep apnea, and anorexia nervosa. Cannabis is a very safe medicine. The side effect of euphoria is one reason patients don't want to use marijuana, but most people like the feeling of well-being that cannabis provides. When patients get too high a dose, they may feel paranoid for a while and then fall asleep. Knowledgeable use of marijuana prevents these negative side effects. The irrational marijuana policy of the last 75 years needs to end. Fear of addiction has led to common misconceptions about marijuana. Marijuana laws that are based on the discredited gateway theory and reefer madness propaganda fail because the truth is hidden. We now know a great deal about brain chemistry. The endocannabinoid system is an important part of our body's regulatory mechanisms. Marijuana is not going away. We must create legal channels for the sale of marijuana so that people can use this valuable medicinal herb without the threat of legal consequences. More information, more stories, all these other fun things are available for you at mercycenters.org. Of course, you can always just come on into the office Monday through Friday, noon to 6, or visit us here at our weekly meeting happening Wednesdays, 7 to 9 at 1745 Capitol Street Northeast, Salem, Oregon. Thanks for dropping by, and of course, remember, you can always visit mercycenters.org or give us a call at 503-363-4588. Thanks much to CCTV, producer PK, and all the ships at sea there for tuning in. So long, we'll see you next time on Mercy TV.
Thank you. Have a good night. You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
Yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.